This isn't the case of a 2-year age gap. This is a sophomore in college and a sophomore in high school being over DMs. And as I clearly shown here and in my video, he clearly knew Ivory's age and lied about it after the fact to get out of it.
So the worst case scenario isn't Pyro forgot to ask Ivory for his age, and now it's Pyro was well aware Ivory was a minor when this really driven conversation took place.
If one person comes out below the age of 16, one single person from anywhere in the community that can prove what Ivory has proved so far, Pyro's
But it turns out that more evidence and more information has come out on this story, and it does look very bad for Pyrocynical right now.
Okay, so, where were we? In my last video, I talked about the allegations against Pyrocynical, a popular YouTuber with more than 4 million subscribers who had some startling allegations made against him by a Twitter user by the name of Ivory Rasmus. There was a lot of turmoil around these allegations at the time, with many accusing Ivory of lying due to the way that they handled the allegations, which admittedly were not the best at first. That being said, the commentary community going on to call him a liar and a clout chaser, as well as calling the allegations that he had made about Pyrocynical false, was completely unjustified. On the 6th of December, I released a document on Twitter titled Proving Pyrocynical's Guilt, where I sought to dispel some of the criticisms made of myself and Ivory, as well as reveal some new information that Ivory submitted to me as more evidence. Today, I'll go over some of the major information from that document, as well as interject some of my own opinion and thoughts. On December 3rd, Ivory messaged me on Twitter to give me some more information. He alleged that he had found some old Discord messages with Pyrocynical's current girlfriend, Ida, who originally messaged Ivory to victim blame him and say that what had happened wasn't that bad. To prove that the messages were real, Ivory even clicked on Ida's account at the end of the video. Ivory sent me some very incriminating messages between him and Ida, where she clearly acknowledges his age. But the natural response to this would be that the messages are fake or that they are not from Ida. So let's prove that they are from her. Firstly, I'll show the Discord ID here for the sake of full transparency, as well as a scroll through of some of the most relevant DMs. And, just to be able to clearly see that the same Discord IDs have already been seen before, you can see the same group chat which included Pyro, and who Ivory alleged to me was Ida. Moving on to the messages, here's one point in them where Ivory is sent an image from the deleted user of her and Pyrocynical in a hotel room together. Doing a reverse image search for this will get you no results. This clearly shows that this image is unique at the very least. And, just to further add to the pile of proof, here's a post she made on Instagram just one day prior where she's in the same mirror in the same room. And here, in another DM, we have a video of them at a restaurant. Now that I've demonstrated the veracity of these DMs, let's take a look at what they mean in tandem with Pyrocynical's greatest argument. Many have been under the impression that Ivory lied about his age, and that is why Pyrocynical decided to talk to him. After all, if he was under the impression that Ivory was older, then how could he be at fault? The most common misconception about this actually comes from Pyrocynical himself. He never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time these exchanges commenced. There are multiple things to discount this claim from Pyrocynical, both from the DMs between Ivory and Pyrocynical, and in the DMs between Ivory and Niall's girlfriend, Ida. Here, we see Ivory not only say that he is a minor, but also a message of him clearly sending his Twitter bio with his age in it to Pyrocynical, at which point he would have been 16 years of age, and Pyrocynical would have been 20. In the newer leaked messages between Ivory and Ida, before he turned 16, we see her acknowledge that he is clearly 15 years of age, showing that he wasn't lying to her at the very least about his age. Not only this, but the DMs seem to be alluding to Pyro and Ivory forming some kind of relationship at the time. Ivory says that Pyro is talking about more real life stuff, but okay, how bad could it be? We don't know the full intent of these messages, right? Well, it gets worse. Here, Ida clearly says that she doesn't think it is unrealistic for Pyro, at age 19, to be in a relationship with Ivory at age 15. They both clearly acknowledged Ivory's age just minutes ago in these messages. So, for Pyro to not know Ivory's age, 5 conditions need to be met. 1. Pyrocynical never once saw the initial DM from Ivory saying that he was a minor. 2. Pyrocynical never once saw the DM where Ivory sent him his Twitter profile. Pyrocynical, who at the time was expressing interest in a relationship with Ivory, which was corroborated by Pyrocynical's at the time soon-to-be girlfriend, still never knew Ivory's age, and an age which she thought would not dissuade him from being in a relationship with Ivory. 4. Pyrocynical never saw any of the tweets of Ivory explicitly saying that he was 15 years old, on an account that he followed and interacted with very regularly. 5. Somehow, outside of these instances, Ivory never mentioned his age once in the presence of Pyrocynical. As you can see, these conditions are a little ridiculous, and they're kind of where I rest my case. One of the most common arguments people will give is that the messages that Ivory posted onto Twitter are completely fabricated. This is largely due to a lack of easy-to-follow information. Many believe that due to the presence of a deleted user, that the messages were impossible to prove to be from Pyrocynical. Let's go over why they are clearly real. Right from the bat, Pyrocynical admitted the reality of the DMs in his initial Reddit response. I am not denying that in the past, I took part in conversations with others that many of you will understandably consider to be weird and distasteful, probably an understatement. If this isn't fair enough for you to believe that the messages are real, at Lumi_CX on Twitter created a great thread walking through all of the important aspects of the videos, even analyzing the Discord UI to show that the messages are clearly real. I'll show one of the more important videos right now.
Regardless of both of those, going over here, this is a screenshot from the Pyrocynical Discord server. This is a bot log, so you can see server name Pyrocynical, server created 2017 0215, total users 7,000 or so. You can see right here, server owner, LOL, that's Pyro's old Discord account username, 9982, that's the same discriminator that matches over here. That doesn't change when a account is deleted.
I've also been made aware of another instance that many used to claim that Ivory is a clout chaser, which I will assess now. This video was largely circulated on Twitter, claiming it to be evidence that Ivory is merely a clout chaser. The song is obviously done in jest, and anyone should be able to see that. But most people are under the impression that this is a recent video. However, if you simply look at the clip, the bottom right-hand corner clearly shows that the recording is from 2016. The person who leaked this video initially, Crass, is someone who has been constantly deriding Ivory on Twitter and calling him a clout chaser with no proof other than this video. This is a recording that Crass has supposedly said is around the same time that Pyrocynical and Ivory met. According to him, he will not release the full recording because there are things that are said which Pyro would like to keep private. Pyrocynical, as we can see here, is in this Discord call, and we can even see that he has the role in the server we would expect someone of his size to have. The same username, being LOL, also lines up with what Lumi said earlier. This shows that he heard Ivory singing this, and it did not dissuade him from talking to him consistently in private DMs. If this is true, what could Pyrocynical possibly want to hide now that he was previously okay sharing in a call with all of these people at once? This is hardly a private setting. It seems a little fishy to me. Crass himself said that they met in the Solid Shive server as well, showing that there was no 18+ server that they met on. Shortly after the release of the document and people making videos about the information in it, the Pyrocynical subreddit began absolutely exploding and trying to find some way that Pyro could be innocent. The recent proof doesn't really prove that Pyro knew. In fact, Ivory's last log about Pyro took place the same day as the first log of Ivory telling Pyro's GF their age. Could Pyro have stopped because he learned that Ivory was underage? This argument may have held up if this person had actually read through some of the chat logs that they're posting screenshots of, but no, this is complete misinformation. There are plenty of DMs both after the messages where Ivory says to Pyro's girlfriend, Ida, that he is 15, and there are plenty of DMs after where he sends his bio. And to further add to this pile, there are even multiple messages of Pyrocynical admitting to trying to cover things up. Here's a message of Pyro saying he cleared out his Discord DMs. Here's another one where he is asking Thaf9 how to clear out Discord DMs. You can see him here clearly asking how to run a script on Discord to delete his messages en masse. Honestly, it just doesn't look like the activity of someone who is completely innocent, or someone who has nothing to hide. Additionally, while digging through the DMs, we were able to find some messages where Ivory and Pyro were talking about meeting up in real life, and Ivory clearly talks about how he would have to get a fake ID in order to travel overseas and see Niall. It's worth noting that at the time of these DMs taking place, Pyro would be 20 and Ivory would be 16. However, the idea of them meeting IRL at all is something that we haven't seen before in these DMs, and I think that the fact that he specifically references needing a fake ID is further proof that Pyro had to know his age. The subreddit also resorted to needless character assassinations and calling him racist based off of old screenshots which are completely unrelated to the allegations as a whole, it is obvious to me that while some people here are looking for the truth, many are resorting to baseless smear campaigns to make him look worse and try to discredit him.
And I've noticed a slow turn from them memeing about this situation and on Ivory, to them being more skeptical about it all, to them coming to the realization that what happened happened. Although obviously in meme form, you can see that the community is genuinely hurt by what happened and what's come out, along with them being upset with a lack of real response from Pyro, besides the one he made before that's been shown to have a lot of problems.
Another argument Pyrocynical made lies in the idea that Ivory was messaging other people of a similar age around the same time. After Ivory alleged that I groomed him, this individual then reached out to him to apologize for any hurt he may have inadvertently caused him, to which Ivory responded, "No, you're fine, I don't care." Why does he not care in this instance? Why does he remain unaffected by a similar interaction with others, yet feel the need to single me out and character assassinate only me on social media? Ivory actually responded to this on Twitter, clearly saying why he left a very short response initially. But even not acknowledging Ivory's response, let's dissect this point a little more. Why wouldn't Ivory be upset at this guy if he was so angry at Pyrocynical? It becomes pretty obvious actually when you read Ivory's original Twitlongers, where he says that the biggest reason for him putting out all of this information out there is because Pyrocynical has influence. And he'd be right. Pyrocynical has more than 4 million subscribers and is easily one of the most respected people in the community. It is no surprise that people are so unwilling to believe these allegations. Most people don't even seem to watch the videos about it before passing judgment. After YouTuber BoBlax put out a video including a lot of evidence that mostly supported Ivory, his comments were flooded with people claiming that he made it all up. As I have shown in this video, this is hardly the case. And even if that is not enough to prove to you that Ivory is not a clout chaser, let's say his intention is to get some notoriety from this. Not noble in any way, sure, but does that really matter? If the allegations made against Pyrocynical are true, and he did know his age, and lied about it after the fact, do his intentions somehow completely ruin the reality of the allegations? Are you so hung up on this idea that you will not put forth the effort to condemn someone who did something demonstrably more harmful? I don't know about you, but I have much more hatred for someone exhibiting predatory behavior than I do for someone who wants Twitter likes. In the comments of my original video, a lot of people told me that I went too hard on a few people, particularly Prisonmate Luke. Luke, after seeing the video, was silent for a few days before making a community post on his channel where he said that he would be taking down the video and apologizing for spreading misinformation. And while I once again don't regret what I said about him, his apology was actually very mature and he made some pretty good points in it as well.
What he did wasn't alright, and I'm sorry for trying to take away from that. Not only is there proof of Pyro knowing that Ivory was underage, but definitive proof that the messages were real, along with other damning evidence too. And the messages were by and large fucked, for lack of a better term. Even if Pyro didn't know Ivory's age, which is unlikely given the messages shown, he should have asked.
As for Diesel Patches, he managed to stay pretty neutral until the appropriate evidence came forward, and I applaud him for hearing me out and posting a video to his channel where he raised awareness for the document. I'd also like to thank my co-writer, Cyber. As I have clearly shown here, and in my original video, it is extremely unlikely that Pyrocynical did not know Ivory's age, and it is very likely that he lied about it after the fact. I personally went into the situation under the impression that Ivory had lied. However, once analyzing the evidence, there is no other conclusion that I can reach other than that Pyrocynical is full of shit. Literally, and metaphorically. The evidence really speaks for itself. Ivory Rasmus did not lie, and Pyro has no verifiable contradictory evidence thus far. And the real shock here, the real disgusting aspect, isn't just what Pyrocynical did initially. It's the cover-up and the deception. In his response, he unironically used the victim wanted it excuse to justify his conversations with a minor. His girlfriend did the same exact thing in the messages she sent to Ivory. If he had simply apologized to Ivory for doing this to him years ago, and apologized on a whole for talking like this to so many people when he shouldn't have, maybe this would have been avoidable. Maybe my video wouldn't have even existed. But as Pyrocynical's own girlfriend states, he does that to everyone. And to further add to this pile and the implication that Pyrocynical did this with a lot of people, let's read one of the originally leaked DMs from Ivory's post. Just what Alex was saying to me today about Keem. It reminded me of all the roleplay stuff I used to do last year. Like, there's so many people I did it with, it's unreal. I don't even remember who and how many. It's that bad. If any of them suddenly don't like my content or for whatever reason, they can just out me and then everyone else will start coming forward. All it takes is one person and it's a chain reaction. Here, Pyro is clearly afraid that some of the people he did this roleplay with are going to come out about it and says he did it with so many people he can't even remember. I'm willing to bet that Pyro was so depraved and lustful that he was willing to talk to just about anyone, regardless of their age. It's really disappointing for me to see as someone who is a fan of his content and has had pleasant interactions with him in the past, but I can't can't ignore this. It's really, really bad. I'll leave a link to the document in the description below if anyone wants to give it a read, as well as some of the videos talking about it. Thanks for watching. I've been Turkey Tom, and until next time, leave me alone.